Berapa? we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance invocation by Frank Stevenson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather here this evening to attend to the business of this community, we just, Lord, seek and trust in your provision of discernment, wisdom, Lord, just the things we need to know and do for the good of this community. Just give us grace, give us insight, and we just thank you for your faithful provision of these things. In Christ's name, amen.
Kim, can we have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Misty Cavanaugh. Here. Tony Space.
Here.
Adam Townsend. Amy Cruz.
Present.
Frank Stevenson.
Here.
Chad Mincer.
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
All right, our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the regular city council meeting on July the 18th.
The regular meeting of the Madisonville City Council was held on July the 18th at 4:30 p.m. at the City Council chambers. It was called to order by Mayor Kevin Cotton. We had the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilmember Chad Mincer. The mayor and all city council members were present for the meeting. We had approval of the minutes of July the 5th, 2022. We also had approval of bills and payroll. We had a fire department report. We had we adopted an amendment to the personnel policy and employee handbook. We also adopted a resolution to accept bids for the Ostrom sanitary sewer extension. We also adopted to accept the bids for the West Side wastewater treatment plant, final clarifier number 1. We also adopted permission to close the streets for Summer Sizzler. We went into closed session and we came out of closed session. And then we also had a motion to allow Mayor Cotton to move forward with the disposition of property for the economic development purposes. And we also had an adjournment.
All right, any corrections to the minutes? All in favor say aye. Oh, give me a motion first.
Motion that way.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion second now. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I was looking at Tony and I knew that he was gonna. All right, moving on to approvals of bills and payroll.
Yes, we have the total general fund of $169,963.44, the total sanitation of $128,325.96, total electric utility of $51,001.38, total water filter of $119,192.64, and total wastewater collection and treatment of $88,756.49. We also have estimated biweekly payroll. Governmental is $58,564, police of $162,384, fire of $179,288, transportation of $38,917, cemetery of $9,477, park $30,989, sanitation of $49,443, light fund of $94,413, wastewater treatment of $17,832, wastewater collection of $41,658, water and filter is $58,215 for a total estimated biweekly payroll of $741,180.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the bills and payroll?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll have our department reports with Chief Steve Bryan.
Good afternoon, Mayor Cotton, City Council. This will be the June report for 2022. In June, the police department answered 4,581 calls for service, made 310 total arrests, 72 felonies and 238 non-felonies, investigated 52 accidents, and the average response time was 3.39 minutes. On page 2, the total drug seizures for the month of June, 16,822 in street value, and you'll see on there that was categorized as other drugs, and I did some digging, and that was, the majority of that was a powder cocaine bust and then some fentanyl mixed in with that. Let's turn to page 3. The traffic accidents, the highest times were Thursdays between 7 and 8 p.m. And then on the last page, total crime for the year, calendar year to date, is down 13%. All others is down 18%, and Part 1 is up 28%. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief Bryan? All right, thank you very much, sir. You will notice in your packet that you have information on business license, zoning and permits. And then the building activity report, we are working this into the packet, and we'll start doing a report with Debbie Todd and Frank Wallace. But we wanted you all to have some of that information up front so that you could see the increase in the businesses that we have had, and then even in the building permits on the residential side from July 20 to June 21. There were 2.592 million in new residential, and then this year we're already at 4.3 million in new residential. So Debbie Todd, Frank Wallace will be more than happy to answer any of those questions that you all have related to these. Some really good information in these documents, and you'll start seeing those in your packet. Next, we have new business. We have a resolution to purchase membrane filters from Suez Water Technologies through non-competitive negotiation.
Whereas the water filtration plant employs membrane filters in the process of clean drinking water, whereas there is a single source for the water filtration membranes within a reasonable geographical area, and whereas competition through competitive sealed bidding is not feasible, whereas the anticipated costs, the above items are included in the city's current budget. Now therefore be it resolved, it is in the best interest of the city to attempt to acquire the water filtration implementing of a partial tank, operating system membranes from Suez through non-competitive negotiation as provided in KRS 45A.380.
All right, so this project is the water filter membranes that we replace. We try to do those on a schedule. Unfortunately, the schedule has been extended because it's 60 weeks.
60 weeks to get these delivered. Last year, it took 16 weeks, approximately 4 months to get them. This year, we budgeted for this fiscal year, and it's not going to be here until next year. But the way it stands now, it's not going to be here until next October if we were to order now in service. So what I'd like to propose to the council is that we really can't have that kind of delay in replacing the next set. So we probably should I would recommend we order 2 sets at this time to get them in. And the only thing we'll have to pay at this time is the 30% fee, which would be about $140,000. If we just bought one, it would be $70,000 that we would have to put up front, and that's normal procedure. That's what we do every time.
One of these are in the current budget, and one of these would be in the next year's budget because you're replacing them on a cycle. But because it's a 60-week lead time, he's wanting to go ahead and get both of them ordered now, so that when the new budget rolls around, we already have that second filter ready to come in and replace. Any questions for Alan or Corey, since we're talking about spending money?
So, in terms of the operation of the system, are we talking about putting it at risk, or we have one set already coming in? No?
We budgeted to order it now and then have it get here, say, November to December for installation.
According to past history, right? Okay.
Typically, when the cold weather gets here, that's when you see the membranes not as perform as well, and one of them is going to struggle this winter for sure.
We're limping along, so to speak.
We have a clause in there. He did tell me if we got into a situation where it was deemed necessary and we had the plant was failing, or if we had a membrane fail, they would try to move us up in the schedule, rearrange when we could get it. But, that's gonna be if it ever happened. We'll limp along just fine, but in a
Incredible. Thank you.
Do I have any other questions for Alan? Do I have a motion to approve the purchase of the membrane filters with Suez Water Technologies through non-competitive negotiation?
So moved.
Second? A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have a resolution to accept the bid for municipal aid paving extension.
Whereas the city of Madisonville advertised bids for the municipal aid paving to be opened August 21st, 2022 at 9 a.m. Whereas the city of Madisonville received one bid. It was from Scotty's Contracting and Stone, and it has different bid amounts on there. It depends on the for all construction and installation and the bid amount to be picked up at the plant. So as you can see, all three of these bids are the unit bid, 84.01 per ton. And then the binder, that's for the surface, and then the binder is 79.42 per ton, and then the base is 79.42 per ton, and then the dense grade aggregate is 12.75 per ton. And then we also have where it is the ones where it's in place and complete, 103.23 per ton, 101.89 per ton, and 99.93 per ton. And those bids are attached to. And Scotty's Contracting Stone was the only bid received and met all the specifications provided by the city of Madisonville. Now therefore be it resolved that the city council accepts and awards the bid to Scotty's Contracting and Stone for the municipal aid paving.
Do I have a motion to accept the bid to Scotty's Contracting and Stone?
At which price do we?
It'd be the entire bid packet, because this is either it's picked up at the plant or it's, they're laying it down. So we don't have our own paving company. It just happens that there are times that we need to pick up a truckload of asphalt to fill a hole. So it would be this entire packet.
For the
As it's
surface, the
presented.
binder, the base, and the, all of it.
How does this compare with our expectations or past history?
It is an increase since oil is a little higher than it was the last time we bid this. It was bid out 2 years ago. We were able to extend the previous contract due to the coronavirus, but do you remember what those numbers were?
Yeah, this is quite a bit higher. It's about 30% higher than last time. And this is mostly because of fuel costs, and it's the freight to bring in the aggregate to make this. In the past, what they've done is when the fuel prices come down, they modify this to give us that savings. Right now, they're not able to guarantee this because the asphalt index is refigured every month, and that governs basically all the asphalt in the whole state. And so they base their price off of that, and it's been changing every month and going up pretty fast. So this is high.
Is what it is they have.
So this lock that in?
Yeah, it won't go higher than that. This will lock it in, so it won't go higher than that.
How long will it lock it in, like, just for this
Year.
season?
Just 1 year.
1 year.
Scotty's is the only one that can bid this now because everyone else is pretty well out of business.
But everybody else.
Do I have a motion to accept the bid from Scotty's Contracting and Stone?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That is a good question, Joe. this being the only company currently in,
Have to bid them approve them separately, just as a package.
the question is, do we, next year, do we have to put that out for bid since they're the only company that can provide the services unless there's one?
Contract, yeah.
Okay. So yes, we will put that back out for bid. All right, next, we're gonna have a resolution to accept the bids for pipe.
Whereas the city of Madisonville advertised bids for the following described pipe. I'm not gonna read every one of them, but you can see them there. We opened those bids on July the 28th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Whereas the city of Madisonville received 4 bids, but at this time, we're only accepting the bids for the 250 feet of the 8-inch SDR 35 PVC, the 1,549 feet of the 10-inch SDR 35 PVC, and the 60 feet of the 18-inch steel casing. The 250 feet of the 8-inch SDR 35 PVC, had 4 bids. It was Core and Main for $10.04 per foot, Ferguson Waterworks of $10.39 per foot, utility pipe sales of $1.43 per foot, and Sitco Water of $10.08 per foot. Whereas utility pipe sales was the lowest bid per foot for the 250 feet of the 8-inch SDR 35 PVC, but the terms and conditions stated that a purchase order must be issued by August 17th and that the line items in either category cannot be purchased separately. If you look at do you want us to go ahead and accept bids on that, Joe, or read them all?
Go ahead and have a motion.
Okay, Mayor.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Dustin kind of talk to you just a little bit about the reason that we're separating this. This bid went out for, if you remember, for 2 things. One was the West Knoll Interceptor project to get the pricing on the pipe for that project, and then also the Ostrom expansion project. What we're asking a motion for tonight is the purchase of the pipe for the Ostrom expansion project. You will see this come back before you again for the West Knoll Interceptor once the funding is in place to be able to purchase that pipe because that bid was for the West Knoll Interceptor, $4.6,054,533. So before we move forward on that, we're wanting to make sure that the funding for the entire project is in place and not jeopardized by purchasing the pipe up front. The purpose of getting the pipe ordered is so that we're not in such a delay on getting the project started for the West Knoll Interceptor, so it's kind of a catch-22 on how we're having to do it. But Dustin, if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically, Core and Main was the only bidder that didn't have a clause in their bid that said that, we could not separate line items or each individual item. The low bidder actually, like Kim had said, they wanted a purchase order by the 17th of August, and I just don't think that we can meet that. We have a meeting tomorrow to discuss the financing side of the Knoll Avenue Interceptor, and at that time we'll have a better understanding of when that funding is going to be here. So that's why we went with why my recommendation is Core and Main.
Questions for Dustin?
Confused?
I'm sorry.
What we're asking for,
No, but $1.43 versus 10 something?
Joe
Is that
Evans
correct?
looked at
Are
that
we
as
looking at
well.
that
They
right?
won't let us separate the
Oh,
the
they
items
won't let you
out.
separate. That's what I missed. I'm sorry.
Called Kim and told her you got a typo, because when I looked at the other 3 bids, there's something missing there, obviously, but it didn't matter because they say you can't separate. We want all 3 of the bids and not in.
I understand now. Sorry.
No.
any additional questions? So we're gonna do these in 3 separate motions. The first motion will be to accept the bid to Core and Main for 250 foot of 8-inch SDR 35 PVC pipe at $10.04 per foot. So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any additional questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next motion will be for 1,549 foot of 10-inch SDR 35 PVC pipe to core and main for $15.60 per foot. Do I have a motion? Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. The next motion will be for 60 foot of 18-inch steel casing to core and main for $78.72 per foot. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
A second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Quick question about, there's only three, they advertise for bids for a whole list of things, and there's only these three. What does the other represent, and is that coming in later,
Re-
or?
The rest of that will be, we'll bring that back before you all at hopefully at the next council meeting. The rest of that is for the West Knoll Interceptor
Okay.
project.
Yeah, you said that, okay. I didn't, pardon me.
But again, we wanted to make sure that that funding was secured and that it wasn't jeopardized by us pre-ordering the pipe before we were able to get the funding. All right, next we have surplus of a police vehicle.
Whereas the Madisonville Police Department is requesting to surplus the following vehicle. It's a Crown Victoria sedan. I do have, it's a 2009, and the approximate mileage on it is $123,743. Miles, sorry. Whereas the police department requests to dispose of the surplus vehicle per KRS 82.083, and now therefore be it resolved that the above vehicle is no longer in service and is declared surplus, and the police department is authorized to dispose of the surplus vehicle by means or public or electronic auction.
Do I have a motion to approve the surplus of the Crown Vic sedan?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have an item for discussion, the permission to close Bishop Alley for an event.
Yes, I was contacted by Robin Elliott of Mad City Wicks and Wine. She's requesting permission to close Bishop Alley for an event on September the 30th and October the 1st. This is between her business and Hadassah Hair Salon. I think they're having some kind of event and some kind of food truck for that weekend and wanted to close that alley for that.
Do I have a motion to approve the closing of Bishop Alley for an event on September the 30th and October the 1st?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions?
Has the other business owners been contacted and they're agreeable
I
to
don't think
this?
there is any on that little alley there. It's just that alley between the two. Hadassah knows.
Also, and then there's a legal office there, and
I think
there's the back part of the Hadassah salon.
There too, right?
okay, I will make sure that they know that. I mean, I don't know at this time whether they've been notified or not. I know that Hadassah and this,
Right. I don't think there's any access that's restricted to come in from would be the west side, southwest side to get to the apartment or whatever, but because it just goes back to connect with that parking area and stuff behind the old library and U.S. Bank's branch, so.
And if, I mean, kind of in the future, just that we get time frames for this, because I know that is a residential area too, so.
However, the residential area has access from the rear of the building. Their parking is actually in the rear of the building as well, so.
I don't think that would affect
Bishop Alley
them.
doesn't
provide the only access to it, right?
However, the legal group would need to be contacted to confirm because their business is on the alley itself.
I think they rent from the legal group. She rents from Lee Riddle.
Okay.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we have an executive order, the reappointment of Skip McGaw to the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation.
It's an executive order that Kevin Cotton, mayor of the city of Madisonville, pursuant to the authority vested in him by applicable law, does hereby order as follows, that Skip McGaw is hereby reappointed to the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation Board, and that this term of Skip McGaw shall be for 3 years, ending on August 1st, 2025, and that Skip McGaw shall serve in accordance with the laws of the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the ordinances of the city of Madisonville.
The next executive order that we have is an appointment of Marvin Hightower to the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation.
And again, Kevin Cotton, mayor of the city of Madisonville, pursuant to the authority vested in him by applicable law, does hereby order as follows, that Marvin Hightower is hereby appointed to the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation, and that the term of Marvin Hightower shall be for 3 years, ending on August the 1st, 2025, and that Marvin Hightower should, in accordance with the laws of the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the ordinances of the city of Madisonville.
All right, our final order of business tonight is an adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to
Do we have a
adjourn.
second? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Morgantown.